You'd be surprised what comes up in conversation when paleontologists spend long days in the field. Some of it is deep time in ancient ecosystems. Some of it is, well, trying to remember our fourth favorite hat. This is Fourth Favorite Hat, a look into real dig site chatter of the Montana Dinosaur Center. Each episode brings you the work, the stories, the arguments, the questions, and the odd tangents that emerge when you put scientists, shovels, fossils, and too much sun in the same place. And yes, every guest still has to answer the only question that really matters. What's your fourth favorite hat? Let's get started.
Hello, my name is Andy, and my fourth favorite hat is my South Dakota Badlands dad cap.
I'm Bret, and my fourth favorite hat is my Lake Champlain Lake Monsters baseball hat.
I'm Bryce, and my fourth favorite hat is my wide-brimmed Denver Zoo hat.
So today we're attempting to be topical. This will be posted a little later, but I swear when we're recording it, it's relevant. They done dropped a new Spinosaurus species, so we kind of wanted to cover Spinosaurus, what it is, what's going on with it, talk about this new species and all sorts of things. Now, lads, would you say it's reasonably fair for me to say Spinosaurus is at least top 10 most popular dinosaurs?
I would say that's 100% true. I mean, especially after
Yeah.
Jurassic Park 3 came out, it really spiked in popularity.
Yeah.
That's definitely
anyone
fair.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Spinosaurus is like the main like bad guy dinosaur in Jurassic Park 3.
It's named because of its spines, neural arches that extend off of the vertebrae and give it a sail-like appearance. And sort of since its discovery, Spinosaurus has had a very tumultuous history. For a long time, it was just one species, Spinosaurus aegypticus, first found in Egypt. This was by a fella named Ernst Freiherr Stromer von Reichenbach. You'll never guess, but this guy was German. He found it in 1915, and he found a lot of dinosaurs coming from Egypt. So his stuff on Egyptosaurus, Bahriosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, and of course Spinosaurus. Now, why has Spinosaurus had such a tricky history? So for the longest time, the most complete specimen was destroyed. It was stored in the Museum of Munich in 1944, and you'll never guess what happened during that time period. A little thing called World War II. In the raids, heavy dinosaur fossils weren't prioritized in getting them out, so these were destroyed in bombing incidents, which kind of led people to try to make scientific analyses based off of drawings of fossils, which is a little harder to do than trying to make assumptions off of the fossils themselves. And I think
Especially because paleontology was so different back then. What people thought was important to be preserved, like in the drawings, is different than like what people would have thought, in later generations.
Oh, precisely. By no means am I throwing shade at Ernst. He did what he thought was correct for paleontology. Sort of the idea that Spinosaurus would have looked much more like a T-Rex based off of his original sketches. But we now know that's not the case. But, when you've only got that sketch to go off of for 60 or so years, by the time Jurassic Park 3 came out, they're like, all right, it's a super predator, yeah? It's super, I love it, just not a T-Rex killer.
Yeah, quite different. Now our modern reconstructions tend to have it much more as an aquatic predator, hunting fish versus,
Something
a
akin
big
to a
T-Rex
massive
type.
heron.
Yeah. Though there is still quite a bit of debate about what fishing strategy it would have used and just how aquatic it actually was.
Yeah.
Ranging from anywhere from being fairly semi-aquatic to being like nearly entirely aquatic, though I think most people settle on the semi-aquatic lifestyle.
When I say like a heron, understand like is doing a very strong amount of leg work,
I would have compared it more similarly to like a gharial, maybe.
I mean, that's also fair.
Hmm.
You can tell none of us are theropod paleontologists, because if we were, I would have challenged Bret to a knife fight behind the museum just now.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to do your duel with Steve, so
I mean,
That is true.
yeah.
I gotta wait for that.
Yeah.
Bryce, now you compare it to an animal. What animal would you compare Spinosaurus to? Bryce is the
Honestly, I was probably
biologist,
gonna
so
go for
his
the
has the
gharial
most weight.
myself
See,
All right, so I have to challenge two people to a knife fight.
at the same time.
at the same time or in succession?
Um, we'll flip a coin the day of and see how luck favors me. Is that fair? Can y'all work with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Works.
All right. Anyways, back to Spinosaurus. Stuff that was getting found of it, like, it wasn't completely gone. It's a much rarer dinosaur But teeth were getting found from Morocco. But like for dinosaurs, teeth aren't the most important fossil to find. It's
We can't
important
tell
for
you a lot about them.
yeah, we could say this is a fish eater, and yeah, they're not like mammals. Mammals have built their whole bodies around their teeth, basically.
Most dinosaurs don't really even come close to that level of like dental complexity. There are some that have different types of teeth in their mouth, or they have heterodonty.
Hmm.
Most notably, a guy called Heterodontosaurus.
How'd you
And
get
one of
that name, Bryce?
funny that turns out he actually has multiple types of teeth in his mouth.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's actually
Wild.
so rare they named the whole dinosaur after it.
It is not a common occurrence for dinosaurs. And especially modern dinosaurs, they don't have it at all. Things we're trying to get done. And there's sort of a phenomenon where I never want this to sound like we're bashing Jurassic Park 3. It's a fun movie, but like it definitely is the reason so many people are so vehement about their opinions of Spinosaurus. Is that safe to say, lads?
100%.
Yeah, probably contributed to it quite a bit.
So a big thing about Spinosaurus was at the time it was being presented as the new biggest dinosaur or biggest predator at least. And Jurassic Park loves to play with that. So they made it, since it's bigger, clearly it could kill a T-Rex, yeah?
Of course.
Well, of course.
That's how that works.
It will never not be fun because it will always devastate people or well, not devastate, annoy is a better word. When they're like, okay, so who would really win in a fight? When they ask me that, I'm like, well,
Yeah, people ask us that
there's,
a surprising amount.
yeah, it's a common question. You can give them, okay, so Spinosaurus is like 30 million years older than T-Rex. So there's that. They were on different continents, and then they're like, yeah, 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 but okay, let's say I put them all in the same area. I'm like, they'd probably leave each other alone.
Don't really compete for the same type of food.
Most predators don't like to deal with other predators.
Even if they did compete for the same food, they probably wouldn't want to fight like immediately if they didn't have to, just because there's a high chance they get hurt and can't really
Hmm.
hunt anymore.
A lot of nature, if you see predatorial conflict, is intimidation based. Great example is big cats. If a jaguar and a lion don't have to fight each other and can do it purely by like posturing, that's the easiest way to do it. But yeah, so Spinosaurus, as we're kind of hinting at, not really a powerhouse. However, it is a deeply fascinating creature. It's a highly specialized theropod. It's the namesake of the Spinosaurids. This has fellas like Baryonyx with its massive curved claw, Irritator, which has a fun story where the species name is Irritator Challenger Eye because when the paleontologists working on it, they bought the skull and it had a doctored nose to have clay make it longer, and they couldn't figure out what the mystery substance was when they were like scanning it. It was falsified. And then they named the Challenger Eye after Professor Challenger from a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book.
Didn't they also have like difficulty actually carrying it out of where they dug it up too?
Oh, I have to imagine like the when you read the story about it, it's like I don't know if I believe in curses, but I think I do.
'Cause I
Like,
don't know like if I'm misremembering from like this one or a different one, but I could have swore I thought that this might have been the one where like when they were trying to like get it helicoptered out, it like fell out a bit.
I mean, that's entirely possible.
Unlucky.
But yeah, if you look at like the outdated reconstruction based off of the doctored skull, it is hilarious. I'll send an image to the lads. Dear listeners, just Google outdated irritator skull picture thing. Something like that. But like, look at that guy. It's good, isn't it?
He looks so
That's
weird.
funny.
Honestly, he almost looks like a scaled up ostrich.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of prehistoric species have their history of better developments as we move on. I think Spinosaurid is just so cursed to an extent. Then again, like Baryonyx was pretty straightforward.
I think people are
Yeah.
starting to like get a better understanding though of Spinosaurus now. I mean, even if you look at Jurassic Park 3 has the one, and then in the most recent Jurassic World movie, they have the Spinosaurids being, actually in the water.
Yeah, I have my issues with their depiction still, but
I mean, there are. Don't get me
Their
wrong, but
skulls look so bad in that one.
moving in the right direction a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, where they were domesticated by a mosasaur.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Andy,
that's
as our mosasaur expert, our
Mhm.
Maharaja of mosasaurs,
Yeah.
That's what they call
uh,
him.
is that how it works? Yeah,
So
that is Andy's
we
official title at our museum, by the way. He is the Maharaja of Mosasaurus.
yeah. I mean, it's safe to say I know the most about mosasaurs of our coworkers. Anyway,
What if we get some new coworkers like this year that are like super mosasaur experts?
well
Then
then
Andy's title will be gone. He'll no
yeah,
longer be the Maharaja.
and I'll be something else like disgraced guy.
The
That's a good
mediocre
name.
knower of Mosasaurs.
But no, there's no evidence in the fossil record of domesticating other animals.
Sad.
And then there was the sort of excitement when a new paper came out saying that it finally found more Spinosaurus evidence. Zooey mama, that one's rough.
That was in the early 2010s, or
Yeah,
for anyone like wondering.
I think like 2014 or something.
That
Yeah.
paper had a lot of problems with the material because it turned out that it was like completed from a big compilation of bones from a bunch of different dinosaurs. Some was Spinosaur material, but also
Mhm.
lots of material from all kinds of different dinosaurs.
The issue was they took like every fossil within a, what was it, half-mile radius?
I
Something like
don't know the
that.
exact. It was a large radius, maybe even a
Mhm.
mile.
So like our dig site has at least 7 individuals in
7
a,
species.
yeah, in a what, 300 foot area.
Yeah, 300 feet. Maybe a
So
little less than that, honestly.
yeah, I may be being generous, but like that kind of goes to show, just because it's within a mile doesn't mean it's the same thing. Also, as a taphonomist, I gotta say, you really gotta scatter in a weird way for that to work. It's not impossible, but it's not likely. Unfortunately, a lot of people are still kind of depicting Spinosaurus as that kind of knuckle dragger now. If you
Yeah,
look
that
at all the other Spinosaurids, none of them do that, and then Spinosaurus is depicted as that. It's like, all right, what happened here?
yeah, some of its limb elements came from, different species, so you can imagine that might mess with the proportions quite a bit.
There's constantly attempts to be the person to redefine Spinosaurus. And nothing wrong with that. You know, everyone wants to have their piece of history.
Yeah.
It's how the science gets driven, after all. But you can imagine my surprise when the next bit of Spinosaurus news wasn't, hey, we figured out more about Spinosaurus aegypticus. It was, hey, there's a second one. How did y'all take that news?
Well,
I'm,
I technically knew about it a little bit earlier, I guess, just because Paul Serrano, he had presented on it at the SVP in 2024, very vaguely. He wasn't, because it was still being written, he didn't show off a whole lot about it. It was a lot of like hype footage of their dig and like a little bit of the crest. But so that was pretty exciting. That conference room was absolutely packed. Every seat was filled. People were lined up along the walls and out like the back. Like it was super packed. It was pretty fun to see.
2024, what city was that one in?
Minneapolis,
I missed that one, unfortunately.
a sad day, because that's also the one that I presented at too.
Oh, that makes sense. I also missed that. So, makes sense that they were at the same one.
True. It checks out.
All right, the math adds up. All right. Two presentations I remember being at the same conference I wasn't at, or don't remember. We'll see if I keep this bit.
That was a pretty good bit. I liked
Oh,
it.
it's just me mispronouncing words.
I mean, as a Chicagoan, you do that a lot.
I'll beat you up.
Before or after the knife fight.
Before, I'm gonna have Bryce fly over. We're gonna go to Illinois. He's gonna meet me behind the Jules, and we're gonna smoke our cigarettes and beat each other up.
What's it, the Jewels?
So, Jewel is a Chicagoland grocery store, but like
Hmm.
duh Jules, you know, you
Oh,
gotta say
like
the, but also pluralize it.
yeah,
And
like the
then,
Bears.
yeah,
Yeah.
after high school, you gotta go get your cigarette and then fight people.
Hmm.
I never did that. I was a theater kid. So,
Hmm.
my schedules were busy.
That's true.
I didn't have time for smoking and fighting.
A shame.
Yeah.
I imagine the Andy you could have become if you did.
I wonder if I'd still be at the Montana Dinosaur Center.
I think you would, but you'd be like more willing to fight people.
I think I would, yeah.
I think
I
he's
don't
already
think I
found
would
two
keep.
people to fight in this like conversation we've been having.
That is
How much
true.
more
You
willing
know,
can you be?
I guess Andy is already pretty fighty. That's true.
Maybe he would be less willing to fight.
Because he like knows
He
the
would have been
horror of
humbled.
war.
The horror of war, it's just a teenage fist fight.
He would have been humbled.
Well, no, Andy, you see, because like after that, your parents would have gotten mad at you, and they would have sent you off to like a military-based boarding school, and then you
Mhm.
would have served in the armed forces for 4 years, and then and you're here.
Yeah, and then I come back and like Bryce will be like, "Well, I love hadrosaurs," and I'm like, "War, War never changes.
That's relevant because Spinosaurus was destroyed in a war.
It
That's true.
was.
So you guys, war isn't good. It destroys fossils.
Yeah. It's not a great
Lots of other
time.
reasons too why it's bad.
Mhm. So, Bryce,
Yeah,
you're the biologist.
it's true.
Talk to me. Tell me biology things about the new Spinosaurus.
So there are actually a number of differences between the new one, Spinosaurus mirabilis, and the old one. Most notably is going to be the pretty large scimitar-shaped crest. While the original one does also have a crest, well, it doesn't raise up quite as high. It might be a bit more rounded in some projections. But this one just kind of shoots straight up. Almost kind of looks like a cassowary crest in a way, albeit a bit pointier,
And
seemingly.
listeners, this will help if you look up the dinosaurs as we're saying it too.
It's true. It might be a little bit hard to visualize otherwise.
I'm not saying you're doing a bad job. It's just we can't show them pictures. It's a podcast.
That's true. That is very true. That's the most defined difference. Other ones, some people are kind of here or there on, because unfortunately the new one is only really known from a subadult specimen. Its
Also,
skull
not a
shape
lot of
could change a
material.
bit. Also, yeah, the skull is
Okay,
not
but
particularly complete.
that
But
ain't new for dinosaur paleontology.
no, and inherently, since there's so few Spinosaurus, you kind of have to take it as it is for the moment anyway. We don't really have much comparison. Its premaxilla, the front of it arches dorsally a bit more, so it's raised above the overarching snout more in the new one than the old one.
So the
So Bryce,
premaxilla,
what
what's
is the
that, Bryce?
premaxilla for our
The
non-biologists?
premaxilla, so the maxilla is the upper jaw, and the premaxilla is a little bone that sits in front of it, but not on people, but on a lot of dinosaurs.
Bryce, now you've told me you're going to, and I quote, reclaim the human premaxilla by any means necessary. Why don't you tell us more about that?
Well, you see, people need to chew their food, right? Like chewing your food
Mhm.
is a pretty important part of eating.
Okay.
So I figured that if I could like expand the human jaw, we can also expand the lower jaw too and get a predentary in there. The dentary is the lower jaw. In order to give us more teeth and more like bone surface for more muscle attachment. That way we could hopefully chew better.
And you believe that'll end all conflicts in the world?
Yes,
All
each and
right.
every one of them.
Well, you heard it here first.
So make sure you guys stock up with some teeth because you're gonna need to get some more.
Bryce out here teeth shaming people.
Did you have your
Uh,
wisdom teeth removed? Or did you
I
keep
did.
them?
I lost them.
Oh, you're already doing poorly.
I still
It's
got
true.
mine.
Oh, are you like one of the people who actually has like a big enough skull structure to actually accommodate them, or have you
Oh,
just not
no,
gotten
they're
them
just
taken out?
growing in straight. So it
Oh,
would cause more issues to remove them. I wish we could. It's deeply uncomfortable. I get teething pains at 28, and I'm like, this feels excessive.
I luckily only had three wisdom teeth. So and they were taken out like pretty much at the tail end of high school.
So it sounds like your evolution is going opposite to the way that you wish it was happening.
It's true. I am
Well,
You actually had fewer teeth than most people. Is that why you
that's why
yearn
he's
so
so
deeply for
adamant
teeth?
about it.
Because you see what you're missing, that fourth wisdom tooth?
it's true. Also, to be fair, those ones are in the back. My whole idea here, the whole crux of this, having the premaxilla and the predentary, is to take those extra teeth and put them in the front.
You know,
Okay,
I actually had an extra tooth. I
you
had
s-
like,
like what kind?
you know how you have your kid teeth and then your adult teeth?
Hmm.
One of my teeth actually had like a third tooth. Like I had two sets of like kid teeth before my
Oh,
adult teeth came in, but only for one tooth.
speaking of kid teeth and adult teeth, I have this issue where my kidneys have never turned into adult knees.
Well, you might need to go get that
Ooh.
checked out at the hospital. That
Yeah.
sounds serious.
Anyway,
This is
Spinosaurus or something.
Yeah, so what are
yeah.
the differences we got?
So okay, I did mention the predentary. Theropods really don't have predentaries. Some dinosaurs did though, but not these guys. Another difference between these two is going to be the front of their dentary, of their lower jaws. In Spinosaurus, it's kind of like this rounded bulbous kind of structure, has a very like rounded profile. But in Mirabilis, it's more subsquared, which is if you like look at them side to side, that actually is fairly notable in terms of shape, which is pretty good. They also have that in the and like the maxilla of these guys, teeth towards the rear end of that are wider apart in Mirabilis. Also, it was put that they think that based off like proportions of the limb elements they did find, that Mirabilis might have been more terrestrially inclined than Egypticus, just because its limbs are apparently more aligned with that slightly.
It was also found in a completely different environment as well.
It was.
Hmm.
That is
So
true. I forget
Spinosaurus
exactly where.
aegypticus, we're finding it mostly in the Bahariya formation of Egypt and then parts of Morocco. Well, Spinosaurus mirabilis, we're seeing in the Farak formation of Niger.
Yeah, so a lot further from the coast, the modern coast, of course.
And there's sort of that question with being half a biologist, I guess. One of the issues we encounter is the species issue. Where do we draw the line? Some people will say, well, if it's far away enough, is that reasonable? I don't know. What do you think, Bryce?
I mean, it definitely can be because, like, if you think about like modern day biology, right?
Mhm.
You can go outside and you see a whole host of diversity in like one area. There's so many different animals everywhere, ranging from insects to mammals to whatever. Like mainly like when you get out of the cities, and like if you go, I don't know, like a state or two north, you can end up finding pretty drastically different things. Or even if things are technically the same species, you get like different regional variants that we would never really be able to tell in the fossil record.
Mhm.
Or sometimes you get animals that we classify as different species, but skeletally they look basically the same. A good example of that is the mule deer and the white-tailed deer. You're really not going to be able to tell them apart by their skeletons,
Oh God, no. I mean,
but they are different species.
sorta, maybe.
It also depends how you define species.
Yeah. No, people will die on their hills about deer species, especially
Yeah,
because they do have levels of hybridity too.
That definition of speciesism is also one we can't really use. You can't really use that for paleontology.
Yeah.
not
Two
really.
species being
No.
able to have, being able to mate and have like offspring.
Realistically speaking, if we found like a dinosaur, like if that was the case, right, and we found like an animal that was a hybrid, we would just assume it's a different animal.
Yeah.
There's no real way to notice that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off with that.
Oh, I forgot. Wait. Oh yeah. Yeah. It very well could be, but like with dinosaurs, we do also see some pretty big ranges sometimes. But
Hmm.
good example for like if we want to go to hadrosaur science, right? For Gryposaurus, there are three pretty well agreed upon species: Gryposaurus monumentensis, Gryposaurus notabilis, and Gryposaurus laudidens. All three of them are located within Laramida, so the western continent of North America when the Seaway was here, and they are found in Alberta. They are found in Montana. They are found in Utah, which aren't that geographically far away, and yet they're all kind of distinct. So it's definitely possible that they could be distinct guys. We just need to actually find more specimens of each of them to make more valid comparisons.
The best argument I kind of have for that is geographic difference can promote speciation, but it should not be taken as a inherent stand-in.
Yeah,
Because, like, bison across America, that's a bison.
like if we want to look at like the Canadian goose. The Canadian goose has such an incredible range, and they are
Bryce,
still just
I'm
Canadian
about to
geese.
school you real hard. They're called Canada goose.
And they're called Brenta canadensis, so we're gonna be technical here.
Oh,
Got you.
that's it. Bryce, meet me behind the museum. Our knife fight just got scheduled sooner.
I want you to know that's one of the modern scientific names that's just permanently been drilled into my head from my high school zoology class.
Okay, but like moments like that are pivotal. I will never forget that sharks are chondrichthyans after I failed a quiz about it. How often does that come up? Will I ever forget it? Probably not. I'll be senile and struggling to remember my grandson's name, but I'll be like, sharks are chondrichthyans.
That is
Quite funny.
true.
Anyways, speaking of chondrichthyans, talk more about Spinosaurus.
There was one more difference that I had forgotten to mention, which is that compared to all other Spinosaurids, apparently, it's now disproportionately lower.
Hmm.
That's one of its autapomorphies. An autapomorphy, dear listeners, is a trait that is unique to an animal. It is like a defining characteristic. So, like, we find more skeletons, and they don't have that. It cannot be defined as that animal, effectively.
I've already sort of been getting asked this question a few times. I don't know if y'all have gotten it yet. People want to know, what is that crest for? I am always of the opinion, if you can't think of a reasonable function for it, it was to attract mates.
I mean, it is a fair bit, and I have seen some graphics where people are comparing because they found, well, albeit there's only like one like skull, or at least like more prominent skull that they have. He's still missing quite a bit.
Mhm.
They have found like I think it was like three or four different like crests that were around, and some of them do skew left or right in a similar way to like how cassowaries do their thing. So maybe it's a similar function to cassowaries, where it's just a very
I I
interesting
I
sector
don't know that
selector.
thing about cassowaries. Can you go more into that?
Oh, sure. So the cassowary is casque. That's a fancy name for its crest.
I'm not calling it that.
That's fair. Like when they like grow in, they can be in a wide variety of angles, ranging from, I forget the exact degrees, but anyways, most of them skew right, if I remember correctly. It's like something like 60 some odd percent skew to the right, then like 30% skew to the left, and then a very small amount actually are more or less vertical.
Is there
And
any
just
like difference in like their success rate with like mate attraction depending on their skew?
I actually learned about this from a different conference I went to earlier last year. It was
the
WIPS, which
cassowary
is
conference.
the Western Interior Paleontological. And one of the most interesting talks there was about this cassowary researcher who was talking about like cassowary crests and like
Mhm.
trying to determine their function in regards to like other animals that have crests. So they're not hollow, so they can't really do sounds like the hadrosaurs. I think he still is going to be like looking into mating-based success based off of the skew of the crest. But interestingly enough, he thought that like the function of the crest itself, regardless of the skew, might help with species recognition. Because if you look at it with it was either UV light or black light, I forget. Something like birds can see more regularly, but we need something to help see, rather. The crests actually have like different glowy patterns on them.
Oh,
So a cassowary looking at it could actually like they look different to them. And the different species have different like patterns. So it could also be a species recognition thing too, I suppose.
okay. I think it's sort of like the Scottish myth of the lion and the unicorn. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn, and its mortal enemies with lions. And the way that a lion would hunt a unicorn was they would get it to stab at them, but then jump out of the way and have the unicorn stab a tree and get stuck. I think that's kind of what happened.
That's fair.
Like,
What if this new Spinosaurus actually used its crest for intraspecific competition and they headbutted each other?
Hmm.
very possible. Very possible.
Definitely not. No. For listeners,
No,
don't be fooled. That was a lie. I'm lying
Yeah,
to you.
we're being silly. We're just a bunch of silly lads. But I do think that's probably how a lion would have to hunt these guys, similar to a unicorn.
I don't think a lion would hunt this.
Why?
It's quite large compared to what a lion normally hunts.
And the fact that, there's like 100 million year time difference, that's not the reason.
Wait,
Well, I mean, we're saying if
you
they were in
know,
the same area.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking about this story here, right?
Yeah,
And I gotta so the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland, correct?
yeah,
So that implies that, the unicorns live in that land.
yeah.
Uh, lions famously don't really live in Scotland.
That's the one issue you have with the story.
So why would the lions have a specialized hunting technique for the unicorn? They're not even from there.
Well, they were on vacation in Scotland and got hungry.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
Similar to like lions and unicorns being mortal enemies. It's like, okay, I can get that. I love how griffins and horses are mortal enemies. I'm like, that just seems unfair.
One of them would probably eat the horse.
Yeah, like I feel like the griffin has the advantage. I think that's just predator prey.
I mean, I would
But
be a rival with a guy if he was like eating my friends, to be fair.
I don't know. It just feels weird calling predator prey relationships mortal enemies.
I mean,
I mean, to be
that
fair though,
that sounds
right?
like a mortal enemy to me.
I
I imagine like
guess.
a griffin hunting a horse, it'd be kind of a risky maneuver, wouldn't it? Because like if a griffin can like fly pretty well,
Hmm.
presumably its bones are hollow, correct? Unless this is like has the most massive wings you've ever seen.
I mean, like, I'm just imagining like a horse is just like chilling there eating, and then it just like he just comes in and like just knocks it over and like cuts it up with its claws and like flies away before
I
it can
mean,
like fight back.
we can agree they'd have to be ambush predators.
Yeah, they just like fly in like a
Yeah, because
peregrine falcon like
like
type dive, just
Mhm.
like
if they got like kicked by the horse, I think they'd be kind of done. Their poor hollow bones wouldn't be able to take that.
I mean that's true
But
for sure.
that's why hippogriffs are so rare because it's when a horse and a griffin breed, but they hate each other.
So
Slaughter's arc.
so you're saying that horses and griffins are the same species then by the
No, it's like a
uh,
horse and a mule, or a
okay
horse and
so
a
so
donkey
so
making a
hippogriffs
mule.
are so hippogriffs
I guess
are
it depends.
are
Like,
sterile then.
yeah.
I've never seen a hippogriff produce a viable offspring, if that's what you're asking.
I mean, have you done research into it, or is this just like you haven't seen it, so it doesn't happen? Like, have we done like any testing?
Hard to say. Let's get some hippogriffs and find out.
All right.
Do you think that hippogriffs would fit into like griff societal structures? Like, would they be able to interact in the same kind of way, or would
Oh,
they be like isolated?
I have to imagine they're ostracized.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Not to be confused with ostrich-ized when something's turned into an ostrich.
Or ostrich-sized when something is the size of an ostrich?
Well, if it's small, it could be ostrich-sized.
That's true.
Hmm.
I have to imagine that the ostrich would probably still weigh more than the hippogriff, though, because its bones aren't inherently hollow.
Well, the hippogriff is also much larger.
How big is a hippogriff on average, Andy?
About horse-sized.
That's fair.
So I'm pulling it up because this is very important for our discussion about the new Spinosaurus species. It seems like the oldest written description of a hippogriff starts with the phrase, "No fiction wrought magic lore." So these are real guys. A poet told me.
That's
Well,
true.
poet.
They gotta beat like 330 pounds, because like the biggest male ostrich is like 330 pounds.
By Ludovico Aristos, the Orlando Furioso.
According to the Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual,
Mhm.
it says that they weigh about 1,000 pounds.
Okay,
They're
they're
typically
quite a
they're
bit bigger
typically
than the
about
ostrich.
they're typically about 9 feet long and have a 20-foot wingspan.
No fiction wrought magic lore, but natural
Quite
was the
large.
steed the wizard pressed. For him a filly to griffin bore, height hippogriff, in wings and beak and crest, formed like his sire, as in the feet before, but like a mare, his dam in all the rest, such a, I don't know how to say that, such on Riphaean hills, though rarely found, are bred beyond the frozen ocean's bound. So, Bryce, now that we know that, does that change your opinion all about the idea of what Spinosaurus mirabilis' crest was for?
I'm still gonna stick with the cassowary idea.
I think that's a reasonable hypothesis.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a very exciting time, but of course, there's also people who are skeptical of this given the history of Spinosaurus paleontology. A lot of people are like, and the next one's gonna have wings. That's a common joke I'm seeing. And I understand the skepticism. I truly do. But like, it's still exciting. I don't know. What do you
It
guys
is.
feel?
I mean, it's always interesting to see like what changes there are, and of course, as we find more stuff, some things may get changed about the current one, or might find even another new species, and we'll learn more about them. The problem is we just don't have a lot of material, so it's hard to make really definite conclusions.
Yeah. Some people have thrown out the idea that perhaps these are actually the same species with just sexual
We're looking at
variation.
dimorphism.
Yeah, but again, we don't really have enough specimens to do that. In order to like reliably say that, you need quite a few.
Also, it's really hard for us to say sexual dimorphism in the dinosaur record, at least, because we do not have an analog.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
ancient deer, ancient elephants, we can safely say that's probably sexual dimorphism when there's differences in the antlers or the tusks. But the closest thing we have to some of these guys is a finch, and they're very different. So, like, where do we start, There's a lot of
guess-
no analog environment going on.
yeah. All I'll
No
say is that-
analog
yeah,
environments are fun because you're like, what? What's happening here?
pretty much.
Like the I forget the formation, but there's one where there's just moose and tapir fossils in the same layer. And it's like, what? Who allowed this? Dear listeners, moose and tapir are not found close together.
Yeah, but tapirs actually evolved in North America.
I mean, true, but like North America's a big continent.
That's true.
Maybe.
Like, you gotta remember, Chicxulub is North America, and so is like Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I hope we shed some interesting light on what all's happening in the paleontological sphere. We're going to try to do some more episodes about news in paleontology as it happens. Of course, we film a couple at a time and then schedule them out. So we might not be right on the exact time it comes out. Also, we kind of like to let the dust settle before we hop on anything. But we hope you guys enjoyed this and learned a bit. As always, I've been Andy.
I'm Bret.
I will be Bryce, maybe.
And have a good one.
That's one conversation down, and there's millions more waiting for us out in the ancient dirt. If you want to join the crew on their next auditory adventure, subscribe to the Fourth Favorite Hat, the Montana Dinosaur Center podcast, available wherever podcasts are distributed. You can follow the museum on social media at TM Dinosaur Center, visit tmdinosaurcenter.org, or swing by the museum in Bynum, about 80 minutes north of Great Falls on Highway 89. Thanks for listening.